taking you today on how to achieve, a trouser pattern. So all you need when you're making your trouser pattern, you need your waist measurement, you need your hip measurement, you need to calculate for your crotch depth or your crotch, anyone crotch depth, then you need the length of your trousers. So now, the first thing you're going to do is take the measurement of your trouser. So the measurement of my trouser is 40. So I'm going to be assuming that this is my 40, right? So this is 40 here. And my own crotch on that 40, I'm using the edge of my paper because it is a straight line. So the length is 40, right? So after I do my 40, I'm going to bring out my crotch depth. Now to calculate for your crotch depth, it's actually your hip divided by 4. My hip is 44, and so I divide it by 4, it gives me 11. So I'm going to mark it out here. This is my 11 here, right? So for me to now calculate for my knee length, your knee length is that line where you're putting your crotch all the way to your M line. Divide it into 2 equal parts, right? Divide it into 2 equal parts and go up by 1.5. So this is my own here. And then you rule out those lines with your square ruler. Rule out the horizontal lines like that. Rule it out. Rule it out. So this level is my waist. This level is my crotch line. This level is my knee line. And here is my hem line. I'm sure you can see this. So now, at where you have your crotch line, you go in by 2 inches. 2 inches constant for all sizes. So I'm going to be going in by 2 inches here. So that 2 inches mark, you square it all the way up to touch the waist line here, like this, right? So after going all the way up, you now go to your crotch line and take a quarter of your hip. A quarter of my own hip is 11 because my hip is 44. So I'm going to put 11 here. That's a quarter of my hip. And square it all the way to touch the waistline. So I'm going to be squaring it up all the way to touch my waistline like this. So on that point, this where you have your crotch line here, you have to divide it into 2 to get our crease line. The crease line is to get, the balance. If you don't get the right crease line, your trousers will not balance when you're walking to be folding inwards into your thigh. So, but when you have you know how to calculate for your crease line, your pants will be balanced on your body, right? So now you're going to now measure that line here, this line here where you placed your hip on that crotch line plus the 2. You will now measure it all together. Here is giving me this figure. Whatever is giving you, half it. Half the measure. When you half the measurement, you take it out here. So you take that measurement all the way down, all the way down, all the way down like that. So that it gives you a straight line. You measure all the way down. Then connect it from that crotch line up to the M line that way. So we've gotten our center line for as the crease line. So that's not all. Now on this place where we have our crotch depth, this space here, you divide it into 3 equal parts. Whatever figure you have there, you divide it into 3 equal parts, right? So because my own is 11, and to divide 11 into 3, it will give me 2.75. 11 into 3 will give me 3.75. Yeah. So I'm going to put 3.75 upwards from that line. 3.75 upwards from that line. So it's going to give me this. So that line is going to be where your hip will stop when you're drawing your curve. So on this waistline, starting from this point here, you measure your quarter of your waist. The quarter of my own waist, my waist is 32, quarter is 8. You measure a quarter of your waist plus that allowance. So you add your data. I've added the data allowance. Then you now connect it to the hip back from here. So you now go and then place your dart in the right place. My own dart placement starts from 3.5 here. For you to know how to calculate your dart placement, just subscribe for the 5 basic bulk course. You will see every details you need to know about the measurements you need in pattern drafting. So for my own for my own dart placement, mine is 3.5. So I have to count 3.5 first from this line, and then place my dart of 1 inch there, which is what I am doing now. So once you place your dart, just get the center of your dart. I'm using 1 inch dart, and draw it all the way to the hip line. This is that hip line that I told you is 1/3 of your crotch depth. So it stops there. Then you go up at that hip line by 1 inch on the dart leg. So that's where your dart is going to end. Sorry, that's where your dart line is going to get to. 1 inch above your hip line. So the hip line for trousers is quite different from, you know, from the skirt. So it's different. So now we've gotten this upper side. Now the next thing we are going to do is, on this part here, you're going to also go up by 2 inches here. So once you've gone up by 2 inches, you now connect it with your curve ruler here like this. Let it connect back like that. Just make sure you give it a good smooth slide like that. So this is the front. Now for us to balance up, you have to measure your knee, whatever you have on your knee. My knee is 17. I see my knee circumference is 17, which is 8.5, you know, because this is on fold. This is going to be 8.5 on this side. So that 8.5, because we are divided into 2, you have to share it into 2. So that's going to give me 4.25, right? So it's going to give me 4.25. Then I'll mark my 4.25 here, that way, and take it all the way up. I mean, all the way down to the M line. Then you connect it, you know, from this way, connect it that way, and it goes this way, all the way. So this is our pant pattern. You can see that it's simple as ABC. So this is our front pant pattern. So when you're cutting it out, you will not be needing these parts. You will not be needing these parts. So this is our pant pattern for the front. So now for the back, we're going to now also measure out the full length for our back. So the full length for the back is 40 also, my length for my trouser. So I'm going to square out a line to be 40 inches long. So assume that this is my 40 inches length line that I'm doing here. Okay, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I am trying to use the half scale size. So I locate my crotch depth just the same way I located for, you know, the front one. Is still the same thing. My knee length also is still the same thing. So I've done that. What you're now going to do is we're going to square out a line, just the same way we squared out a line, you know, for the front pattern, right? So this is also going to be our waist. This is going to be our crotch line. This is going to be our knee, and this is going to be the hem line, right? So now for us to get our extension for the back crotch, extension for the back crotch is 1/4 of your hip divided by 4. Now my hip is 11. If I divide it by 4, I'm going to get 3.75. So I'm going to put the 3.75 here, like that, okay? This is my own 3.75. You're going to extend it to this point. So this is my own crotch extension. So once I do that crotch extension, then from this line, I place my 11, which is, I'm going to put here also. And then I square it all the way up this way. After squaring it all the way up, now I go in by 1 inch at the center back and go up also on that point where I went in by 1. I go up by 1 inch. Now on this point here, which is the back line, you know, you divide into 2 equal parts here and you label it X. So that point is where you're going to put your curve. So then you're not going to connect your curve to that X point like this, and then this is now going to connect to that 1 in 1 up extension. Now from this point, you're now going to bring out your waist, you know, divided by 4. Like I said, my own is 8 because 32 divided by 4 will give me 8. So I'm going to measure that 8 plus 1 inch for that allowance, which is 9. Wherever my 9 intersects the line here on the waist, from that 1 inch elevated extension up, wherever my 9 touches it, that is where I'm going to put it here. So that means my 9, that is my waist plus 1 inch, one inch allowance for that. Now, like I said, my hip level is 1/3 upwards for my crotch. So 1/3 upwards for my crotch is 3/4, right? So I'm going to do it here like this. So it's going to be at this point. So this point is going to be my hip level. So once I do that, I just go and connect, you know, with my curve ruler, place my hip there for the back here, and then I connect this place also this way. So now I want to go and locate my dart. Like I said, my dart placement is 3.5. So my dart placement starts from here, then I count my 1 inch and centralize it. This time around, when you want to draw your dart leg, you have to place your ruler on the elevated line to follow it like that. Then you go up at the hip line by 1 inch and connect your darts to, you know, that's 8 legs. You draw your dart legs like that. Okay, so that's how to achieve, you know, for the back pant. Now we want to get our crease line. You're just going to measure all this length of this line here, and then you get your crease line. So this is the center here. Then I'll take it all the way. I'll square it all the way down. You make sure that it balances on the line well to make sure it's square all the way down. And then I'll go and take my knee measurement. My knee measurement, this is our crease line now. Okay? Now I'm going to take my knee measurement and then I will shear it across. My knee is 17 divided by 8.5. I'm going to shear the 8.5 into 2 sides. That's going to give me 4.25, right? So I'm going to now shear it to the left of this and right of this. All the way down, 4.25. So this is it. Then you take your ruler and connect it this way. From here, you connect. This one here, you connect, place, and then you take it all the way, you know, you square all the way down like that. And like that. So you can see that this space looks fine. Just take your curve and, you know, blend it nicely. It shouldn't be sharp there. So this is how you derive your back pant pattern. So this is the front pant pattern. This is the back pant pattern. Please turn on your notification bell. Don't forget to follow Ulam Pattern Making. Subscribe, like, and share. And also give us your feedback. Please in the comment section. Practice it. And, you know, give me a feedback on the fit. Thank you.